I mean, our coaches, are you totally 100% tuned in, or do you know basically what's going to be happening, Smitty?
I just laugh because that's what makes a great coach. Because there's some coaches you're not tuned in at all because you're not believing. I'm being honest. There's some coaches where you say he's a good coach, but at that moment, I think that's what separates great coaches. At that moment, he's drawing up 3 or 4 plays that didn't work in the first quarter. Why are we going back to those plays? Then there's coaches in Lenny and Greg Popovich where, you know, you're involved because he's just not drawing the play up for the number 1 guy. All 5 guys are in the play and have a chance to score. But I think the great coaches is the defensive part of coaches where they know what the other team is going to run. And when they can draw up defensively what you're going to do, to take away those options, that's what separates them. That's the Lenny Wilkins, that's the Phil Jacksons, that's the Greg Popovich. I think those are coaches. It's those last 5 or 6 possessions on both ends that separates them from to be great coaches.
How much give and take is there in the huddle between a head coach and a player and a team leader? If you don't think, I don't know if that's where we ought to go with this, how much give and take is there?
Oh, there's a lot of give and take because first of all, the great teams have systems that they believe in and that they play from. So, you know, if we go to the huddle and we call a play and you say, no, we can't run that play. I don't want it on the left side. Let me have it on the right side because when I come off to my left, then I can throw it back. I can make the slot pass with my right hand to Lambeer. I mean, Chuck Daly and Coach Knight, every time coming back to the huddle at the end of the game, before the huddle started, they was walking out, and as I was walking in, they would ask where you wanted it. You would say as the player, I want it up top, or I want it on the right wing, or I want it on the left wing. And, you know, the guys who could post up, they would say, I want it on the left block, or I want it on the right block. And then they would proceed to draw up what it is that we're going to do. But they would always ask that player where you want it.
Now, Smitty knows this, right. Steve knows this, and I know you've watched enough games, Kenny and Ernie. How many times in San Antonio have you seen a timeout happen where Pop is not at the bench, but Tim Duncan's sitting in the coach's chair, and he's looking at 4 eyes, and the rest of the team is huddled up? Or times when Manu takes that seat and nobody understands what he's saying. He's from Argentina. But that kind of communication is what I'm talking about, where you have that open dialogue.
When they double, I want you to curl into go to the basket.
I think we all as players feel confident when your coach comes to the huddle and says, okay, we're getting ready to do this. Not a coach that comes and said, okay, no. Pick and roll, you're going to be spotted up over there. If you get double teamed, that coach, when he comes in with that kind of confidence, that's what gets you engaged because you see he knows exactly what we need to do, where the ball needs to go, and if everyone cuts hard and do what they need to do, we're going to get a good shot.
Danny Ainge told me a story with Larry Bird and, you know, about input, and he's like, Casey Jones was talking about, he was about to run a play. He was like, no, I want the ball on the left block. And he's like, no, I'm the coach here. We're running the play. And I'm going to run this play. So he says he draws the play up. He says, and then Larry Bird to get the ball on the left block. So you got to know he was in control, but he understood the control.